Yo, it's Carcat. This video is going to build off of the Advanced Black Panther guide, so if you haven't watched it, give it a go and come back. In it, I introduced the floor dash, the secret sauce that's winning me tons of games. I got a lot of questions about it, so in this video we'll cover it in detail, and as a bonus, I'll also go over a lot more advanced tips and tricks so you can keep optimizing your mechanics. Before we start, just want to say a quick but genuine thank you. We recently hit 10,000 subscribers, and the last month and change of creating content has been an absolute blast. I can't wait to keep going. Next stop, 100K, and if you want to help get me there, take a second and subscribe. With that, let's learn some tech. The purpose of the floor dash is to optimize your positioning during an engage to increase your damage per second. It does this by keeping you within melee range of your target, allowing you to weave left clicks in between your abilities. For comparison, this is what not floor dashing looks like. I end up too far away from my target and ultimately can't secure the kill. By contrast, here's a kill I'm able to secure specifically because the floor dash keeps me close enough to deal the burst damage I need in that moment. So how's it done? The simple explanation is you just aim at the floor while you dash. You'll glide along the floor, but not go quite as far as if you had just aimed straight ahead. If you want to shorten it more, just aim closer to your feet. The key here is really to practice and experiment with it in the practice range so you can experience how it feels to use. Keep in mind, you're not aiming at your target's feet, but the floor in between you. Start over here with the stationary bots and stand at varying medium and short distances. Then dash with the goal of ending up right next to, or ideally right behind them. Once you can do it consistently, move on to the moving bots. With these, you can simulate a target moving away, towards, or perpendicular to you, and adjust your floor dashes accordingly. It's hard to explain exactly how to aim a floor dash, it's best if you just try it. But what I will say is to get a meaningfully shorter dash, you do have to aim pretty deep into the floor. Even just a slight angle above your feet will send you around 5 meters or more depending. So why is the floor dash really so good? It's not just that the increase to your burst DPS will help you confirm kills, but overall, it increases the amount of pressure you're able to apply during your dives. For a more in-depth explanation of why that's important, check out the dive guide. But everything is a trade-off, and the floor dash has some drawbacks you'll have to consider before trying to do it every time. The biggest one is it decreases the actual distance you travel, making you an easier target. Floor dashing against a good mantis is a bad idea for this reason, because she will sleep you more easily than she's ever slept a panther in her life. You trade that increase in vulnerability for more DPS. That being said, if the quality of your dive is good, and you've caught your target by surprise, you can mitigate the degree to which you're vulnerable. And that's pretty much everything you need to know to start securing kills with the floor dash. Let's move on to the other mechanical tips that if you aren't implementing, you absolutely should. Starting with the bread and butter, spear and dash. To maximize your efficiency and kill potential with these abilities, here are some things you might find useful. With spear, barring isolated 1v1s, your goal should be to hit as many targets as possible at once. Pre-fight, don't be afraid to fish for vibranium marks and decide how you want to approach based on how many people you hit. You know, spear fishing. By getting marks and then waiting, you give your spear time to come off cooldown, allowing you to use more abilities during your engage. Then, once you're ready, do your best to avoid consuming multiple marks in one dash. That way you can secure more resets and apply more pressure. Bonus tip, the duration of vibranium mark is about the same as the cooldown for spear, so you can use the cooldown to judge how much longer you have to use it. Tip number 2, you don't always have to take a flank to access the backline. One of my favorite ways to quickly circumvent the front line is to spear someone in front once I've already marked the back, then use the marks to enable repositioning. This often takes people by surprise and can lead to extreme pressure on their team. Now, let's talk about ghost dashing. For those who don't know, ghost dashing is when you use 2 dashes back to back without any time in between, usually flicking your mouse in the process. It's very flashy, and you've probably seen a lot of Black Panthers use it, but I'm here to tell you something that they may disagree with, but I promise you is true. Ghost dashing is bad. I should clarify, it's not as black and white as that. More accurately, ghost dashing is situational, so much so that 90% of the time, I wouldn't recommend using it. The main reason is, typically when you ghost dash, you don't get your dash reset, and that's rule number 1 of Black Panther. You need your dash resets to survive, and the ghost dash in the majority of cases will get you killed. If you're going to use it, it should be a decision based on your analysis of the game state. You know you can confirm a kill, you know the second dash will get you to cover, to your team, or you have your ultimate lined up to get your dash back. One small tip, if you intend to take the risk, you can turn your camera during the dash animation, giving you more time to aim and acquire a target. You should do this when you're dashing regularly too. Oh, and one last niche tech with your dashes that's actually pretty easy to do, is if you hold down any movement input while dashing, you can cancel the startup animation, but you have to be on the ground. For Black Panther's ult, it's important you understand how it actually functions, as well as how to use it without dying. Bast's Descent is a cuboid spell field, and this isn't confirmed, but based on how the ult seems to work and my understanding of Unreal Engine, it looks like when the ult activates, it shoots a line trace from Black Panther's torso towards where your reticle is. If it encounters any obstacle, that will determine the length of the cuboid field. This is why sometimes your ult won't register on targets you feel they should, so keep this in mind when you're using it. His ult is solid, but it's not amazing, so don't feel like you have to hold it until you can hit a lot of people. It's great as a solo ult. It also gets fully negated by support ults, so don't use it while Luna, Mantis, Cloak, or any of the other 10 million immortality ults are active. Generally, I would try to use up all my dashes and dash resets to maximize the value from resetting your dash when you ult. You can also use this time to position behind the team, or even up in the air before you ult to make you less vulnerable, but keep in mind, you're still very vulnerable. It's also great when you miss a dash mid-engage, but still feel like you can get value during the fight. Let's close out by talking more about combos and your passive. In the Panther guide, I went over the basic variations of Black Panther's combos, and which one you should use by default. I saw a lot of videos after the fact saying that because I said this, it means you should never use the other variations, including the one the game gives you, where you spear dash and then spinning kick. Let me be clear. While I think saving your spinning kick for last is what you should do the majority of the time, there are situations where the other variations are better to use. Every single one of Black Panther's combos should be treated like a tool in your toolkit you pull out when you feel like it's the one for the job. I use spinning kick in the middle of my combos all the time, especially when I know I can mark a lot of people at once. Don't limit your playstyle to one approach or one combo, otherwise your gameplay will become rigid and stale. Instead, gain enough experience to fully understand when to best use each part of your kit. Speaking of which, this is a great segue to the Chasm combo. Once you've mastered the basic Black Panther combos, it's time to expand your arsenal to include some of the niche ones that give you more options, especially in high elo. Recently, Chasm posted a clip of a one-shot combo that is by far the fastest way to kill any 250 HP target without your ult. Double spear, double dash. Initially, people were quick to criticize it, but it's important to understand that combos like this are not meant to replace Black Panther's bread and butter. They're again, situational tools. And as it turns out, double spear is more versatile of a combo starter than I thought. You can Chasm combo 250 HP targets, extend it with ult if you have it, and even mix in melee and spinning kick to one-shot combo 275 HP targets like Luna and Mantis. If you want to get really crazy, you can cancel spinning kicks animation with your ult, too. Deciding which combo to use is just a matter of how concentrated you want your pressure to be and how much risk you're willing to take on. If you want to jump the backline and deal damage and distract them for a while, go for the main Black Panther combos that have you weaving abilities together over a medium length engage. If you want to burst down one specific target as fast as possible, go for one of the more all-in combos. Just make sure you have an escape plan.
This fight's not that good, right? Like it's...
Finally, let's talk Black Panther's passive. It increases your damage at 100 HP by 20%, and an important note is the shield you generate doesn't count as HP in this case, so you can get up to 175 HP and still be damage boosted. When you have this up, all of your breakpoints get way more generous. The Chasm combo kills 300 HP targets, and the absolute fastest way to one-shot someone is ult dash. These are some of the highest risk plays you can go for, because they assume you're beginning an engage at 100 HP or less. But if you have the passive up and the element of surprise, you never know what could happen.
That's a clip!
And with that, we've covered some of the best mechanical tips that you can incorporate into your gameplay to climb on Black Panther. If you made it this far in the video, thank you so much. It truly means the world. And I hope to see you on either the Discord or on Twitch.
No, it's your heels.
Good luck!